Hello there and welcome to Respawn, your brand new weekly esports recap show. I'm your host Balm, and this week I will be recapping the matches for Major 4 Week 3 qualifiers of the Call of Duty League. And we have a lot of matches to get through, so let's jump right in. Matches started off on Friday with a very hot upset. The London Royal Ravens take down Atlanta FaZe in a 3-1 series. The Royal Ravens have been looking very solid since the return of Gizmo. Some might even say they look like their early season selves. But the highlight of this series actually came from their man Afro, as he has this disgusting turn on a Beezy in a Bocage S&D. Now, this is not something you see often with a Beezy on the screen, but this was by far the play of the weekend as we saw it on repeat. Next up, we had the Florida Mutineers versus the Paris Legion. This match was probably closer than it should have been. Paris had two very dominant Respawn wins, including a 3-0 Tuscan control. But Florida was able to clutch up in the end and take home the series 3-2. Now, in the last match on Friday, we saw Seattle Surge versus the Minnesota Rokkr. The Rokkr are desperately fishing for the top 8 spot in the CDL standings. They start off this series hot with a last-minute comeback on Bocage Hardpoint against one of the best teams on this map and mode, Havoc, helping with this by going absolutely nuts with the MP40 and dropping 46 kills. Minnesota also win the S&D to go up 2-0 in the series. Surge, though, not going down without a fight, especially when Sib is frying. Sib stepped up when his team needed him most, going double positive 45 and 22 in a 3-2 Tuscan control victory to stay alive in the series. Surge able to win another Respawn in dominant fashion on Berlin Hardpoint, forcing a Game 5. Unfortunately for Surge, they were not able to complete the reverse sweep, and Minnesota win a very needed series 3-2. Now, starting off Saturday, we have Rokkr versus the Paris Legion. Rokkr once again start off hot, but quickly go down 2-1 in the map count. Some very, very massive plays out of Havoc as he gets a 2-piece and helps lead his team to a Game 5, where Rokkr are able to finish strong with a 3-2 series victory. Paris putting up more of a fight than I think anybody expected, which is slightly worrisome on the side of Rokkr going forward, but a win nonetheless for them. Now, in match 2, we had Boston Breach versus Toronto Ultra. Two more teams fighting to keep their top 8 spot going towards champs. Insight having an incredible series himself, leading the team to a 6-0 S&D victory in map 2 while going 10-1. But Boston Breach able to find the teamwork to close out the series in a Game 5. 3-2 victory for Boston. Next up, we saw an absolute barn burner of a series between LA Thieves and Florida Mutineers. Major Maniac with a highlight reel 3-piece in map 1. The Thieves line up for him in the back of P2 on Tuscan. Absolutely horrible. We haven't seen this bad of a lineup since Optic versus Accuracy in Cold War. Thieves, though, answer back with a 6-3 Berlin S&D victory. Envoy going 9-4, and Octane with a big 1v2 clutch. We jump to Game 4. Florida up 2-1 in the series. Thieves trying to force a Game 5. It is a back and forth match that ends in an insane P2 break from the Thieves. They are last in the break percentage for this hill in the league, but they dig deep and they push the series to a Game 5. Unfortunately for the Thieves, their momentum stops there as Major Maniac goes 9-5 with an ace and a 1v3 clutch in Berlin S&D. He leads his new team to a 3-2 series victory. And finally, the last match of the day on Saturday, we saw Seattle Surge take on Atlanta FaZe. Now, Seattle Surge not been performing great, especially coming off their Major 3 win, and unfortunately, that trend continued after their loss to London on Friday. FaZe bounced back to their dominant form. We saw the Tiny Terrors doing what they do best, and Celium, no shock here, having an incredible series. FaZe take down Seattle in the only 3-0 of the weekend. And finally, we jump to the last day of Qualifier. Sunday was an absolute mess of a day. London Royal Ravens able to win map 1. Map 2, Bocage S&D, comes down to a round 11. Slasher tries to make the hero play a 1v2, able to get the man off the bomb, sees the second, but unfortunately Zero with the bunny hop off of the tank, able to close it out and bring London to 2-0 in the series. LAG, though, they fight back with a 3-0 map win on Gavutu Control. Now, this is where it gets messy. There was almost an hour and a half delay between map 3 and map 4 due to some technical/server issues. Everybody watching the stream was upset, but more so, you gotta feel bad for these players. It is so hard to stay focused when you're waiting for this long, especially London trying to bounce back after that 3-0 loss in map 3, and LAG trying to carry that momentum forward, neither really able to do so. But eventually, map 4 did commence, and LAG were able to win a very close Berlin hardpoint, 250 to 241. So just as they thought everything was fine going into a map 5, no, wait, we have another 45-minute delay before map 5. Unbelievable. Eventually, they did get to play the final map, and LAG were able to complete the reverse sweep 3-2 after what came down to about a 4-hour series. That is way too long for any two teams to be playing. Next up, we did get to more matches on Sunday. Don't you worry, folks. Next up, we had Optic Texas versus Toronto Ultra. Optic looked very strong and started off in a dominant Bocage hardpoint win and a comeback victory on a Berlin S&D after being down 4-1. However, Toronto kicked it into gear with a map 3 victory and rode that momentum until the end. Ultra with a reverse sweep of their own to take down Optic 3-2. That was a big win for Ultra. They can use all the CDL standing points they need. Optic, they clinched their spot, so honestly, they're okay, but they will start in the losers bracket next weekend. Now, finally, the last match of the qualifiers was LA Thieves versus the New York Subliners. Subliners desperately trying to get into the winners bracket for their home major and make a late season run toward champs. We saw it all this weekend, but these series just kept coming down to the wire. New York with a map 1 win, however, Thieves jumped back with 2 of their own. A great Berlin control performance, as you can see Octane and Kenny both with 34, and Draza with 35 kills. New York did, however, push it to a game 5, but Thieves close out the series with a 3-2 victory. Now that's all for the matches, so let's take a look at the standings. With that win, the Thieves push up to a 7th place CDL standing, and LAG with their wins this weekend snuck into 8th. Only FaZe and Optic have clinched their spot in champs, which means there are 9 teams fighting for 6 remaining spots. Now, Ultra, Thieves, Rocker, Mutineers, and Subliners are all in the winners bracket, giving themselves a great chance to raise their standing. However, LAG starting in the losers, so they're going to have to dig deep if they want to stay in that top 8. We have a very important Major 4 coming up for all of these teams in hopes to continue their season at champs in LA. That is your recap for Major 4 Week 3 qualifiers in the CDL. That's all I got for you this week on Respawn. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you back here next week.